Hi, welcome to today's lesson. Today's learning target is I can use a coordinate grid to find and name points. So let's learn about a coordinate grid, what it is, and how to use it. A coordinate grid is a tool that we use, oftentimes in algebra, to help us visualize patterns in math. A coordinate grid is built from two number lines. So we know how to use one number line, right? Here we have a number line, and it helps us to name numbers along that line. If we wanted to name other points that aren't on the line, such as a point way up here or a point up here, or maybe it was a point down here, we really couldn't use a number line for that because those points aren't on a number line. What we need is a coordinate grid and a second number line. So the way we build a coordinate grid is to take a second number line, turn it 90 degrees so that it's perpendicular to the first, match up the starting points, that's the 0 on the number line, and there you have it, the beginnings of a coordinate grid. Each number line set of numbers would help to create coordinates that would name any points in this two-dimensional space that we call a plane. So this is what a coordinate grid looks like more conventionally. It has a grid behind it, as you can see. Now, coordinate grids come with a lot of vocabulary, a lot of parts that have special names. Let's learn those now so we can talk more clearly about coordinate grids. As you can see, the first new word we're going to learn is origin. Origin means beginning, and this point here is the beginning of a coordinate grid. It's 0 on both number lines. If we look at this horizontal number line, this point right here is 0. And if we look at the vertical number line, the point here in the middle is 0. From 0, we could count in any direction along any number line. The horizontal number line actually isn't called the number line at all. When number lines are part of coordinate grids, they have a different name. They're called an axis. And this horizontal number line has a very special name called the x-axis. The vertical number line is also called an axis, and it has a very special name called the y-axis. And that's why oftentimes you'll see the letters X and Y written at the end of those two number lines. And finally, you'll notice that the two number lines themselves, or the two axes, create 4 separate areas. And those areas are called quadrants, and they have conventional names that all mathematicians across the world agree on. This top right area is called quadrant 1. The top left is called quadrant 2. The bottom left is called quadrant 3, and the bottom right is called quadrant 4. So it's really good to learn these quadrants. You're going to be asked by me and other teachers in your life to name these quadrants and know where they are. All right, so now that we know the names of these parts of a coordinate grid, let's learn how to use it. For the purposes of our lesson today, we are going to focus just on quadrant 1. This is the quadrant that features all positive numbers on the x-axis and positive numbers on the y-axis. We'll get to the other quadrants in future lessons. So if we had a point on this coordinate grid, let's say it's this point right here, we could use the coordinate grid to name that point, even though it's not on either number line. What we do is we'd start at our origin, 0, down here in the bottom left corner, and we'd move along the x-axis first until we reach the number that matches that point. In this case, it's the number 3. If we trace our line up, we can see that this point matches the number 3. And then, once we know that it's x number 3, we could trace the line that it's on over here horizontally to the y coordinate. And that's the number 6. Now, you just heard me say that word coordinate. These two numbers, the 3 and the 6, those are the coordinates for this point. Those are the numbers that name the point. Now, we always list or write these numbers in the same way. We write the x number first, and that is 3. And we write the y number second, and that is 6. And conventionally, and that means that every mathematician does this all the time, so you need to as well, what we do is we put those two numbers inside of a set of parentheses and separate them with a comma. When we do that, those two coordinates are called an ordered pair. An ordered pair. And an ordered pair is called that because the two coordinates are always in the same order. The first number is the x number, and the second number is the y number. All right, let's try this again. You want to? What if we wanted to name this point right there? What would we do first? You got it. We would come over here to the x number. Starting at 0, we come and we find the number that matches, and that's the number 8. And then we'd find our y number by tracing the line over here and see that the y-axis number is 3. And so we'd write that as an ordered pair with the 8 first and the y number 3 second. And then we'd put those numbers inside of parentheses and separate them with a comma. And that is another ordered pair that names that point. We call it 0.83. All right. So the tricky thing here that a lot of students, when they first learn this, get confused about is which number is which, right? They haven't learned that an ordered pair means the y number, the x number always goes first and the y number goes second. So I have a little memory trick for that, a little mnemonic device. Okay. I want you to think about climbing a ladder. All right. If you're wondering where to go first, whether it's up the y-axis or over the x-axis, think about climbing a ladder. If you had a ladder and you need to climb it, would you climb your ladder first and then hop, like climb up the y-axis and then hop over like a pogo stick on the top of the ladder to the number that you need along the x-axis? No, that would be silly. I think you would probably hurt yourself badly, and I would not recommend doing it. What you do is you would walk along the ground or the x-axis with your ladder to the number that you need, and then you'd climb up the ladder. And if you can think of that when trying to remember which number to find first, the x-axis number or the y-axis number, I think that might help. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the kinds of problems you'll see in today's practice work. Here we have a coordinate grid, and it's covered in pictures. Those pictures have names over here, and you're going to be asked today to write the ordered pair or the coordinates for each symbol. All right, so let's just do one or two together right now as practice. I'm going to take me on my ladder, and let's say we want to find this cross right here. I know it looks like an X, but it's called a cross in our work. All right, so let's go ahead and walk along the x-axis ground to the number that matches up with that cross, and that is the number 8 in this case right there. And then we will climb up our ladder to the cross itself, and we will see along the y line here that the y coordinate is 4. So we have 8, 4 as our ordered pair. So here on the line next to the word cross, we'd write parenthesis 8, comma 4, parenthesis. And we have our ordered pair that names the cross. Let's try one more, shall we? Let's try the star. All right, I'm going to move myself down here. Let's try the star. The star is interesting because it's on the x-axis, isn't it? So nothing changes. The first thing we're going to do is walk along the x-axis till we get to our location that we want, and that's the star. And we see that the star is at number 2. So let's go up here and write parenthesis 2, comma, and then we're going to go up, climb up our ladder on the y-axis. But wait a second, we don't have anywhere to climb. That star is on the x-axis. So if you don't go up at all, if you climb up 0, then we write 0. So the coordinates or the ordered pair for this star is 2, 0. And you write it just like that, 2, 0 inside of parentheses. Some other problems you'll see today look like this, where you have the ordered pairs right here, and you're going to be asked to match them up to their locations, which are marked by letters. So let's just try one right now. Why don't we go ahead and just find 3, 8, this first one here at the top. We have to recognize that 3 is the coordinate on the x-axis, so we're going to go ahead and, let's see, walk along the x-axis first to 3, okay? And then the 8 is the y-axis number. So now we're going to go, let's see here. We're going to go up to the number 8, which we know is right here. If we trace our line over, we see we're at the number 8. And we see that at that location is the letter G. So in today's work, you'll write the letter G next to that ordered pair. Want to try one more? All right, let's do it. So start back at 0. Let's go ahead and find the next one, 7, 0. This ordered pair here. So we're going to go over 7. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 7. And then we're going to go up the y-axis 0 numbers, which means we're going to stay on the x-axis. And yep, there we go. What do we see? The letter C. And that is what we'd write on the line there. All right, so that is what a coordinate grid is, and a little bit about how to use it, at least in the first quadrant. Today's learning target is I can use a coordinate grid to find and name points. Let's get some practice in. Let me know if you need help.